Hey there, movie buffs, and welcome to the official start of 2025 summer movie season, marked by the release of the 8th installment of a 30-year spanning franchise. The movie debuted in Cannes last week and had its official opening this weekend. It received mixed reviews, with many criticizing the convoluted plot, whilst others praising the title's entertainment value and visual stunts. But the final verdict is still out for this movie. Once the dust settles, will this be seen as an epic or just a, epic fail? Here are my 2 cents on the subject. I'm Pedro from Vinyl and Celluloid, and this is my review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I'll start this episode by telling you a bit more about my personal experience with the Mission Impossible franchise. With the exception of the first entry, released in 1996, I've caught them all on the big screen. I missed the opportunity to see the first one in theaters on account of being only 5 years old. Did I ever plan in advance to see any of these movies?
Absolutely fucking not.
Yep, The Final Reckoning was the first time I proactively planned to see a Mission Impossible entry with friends who also enjoy the franchise. I watched the previous 6 movies as part of spontaneous decisions, mostly motivated by friends who are casual moviegoers, and I think neither of them had seen most or any of the prior entries, but were persuaded by the compelling marketing campaigns that accompanied all the Ethan Hunt adventures. Of course, it didn't take much to motivate me to go along. After all, the series has always delivered on the pure blockbuster entertainment front. And that's the exact mindset I'm in whenever I go to the movies to watch Mr. Hunt running around and saving the world on behalf of the IMF. Viewer beware, only minor spoilers ahead. And now, as per usual, let's have a recap of the movie. Somewhat following up on the plot of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, the 8th installment finds Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, and his IMF team regrouping in London to continue their pursuit of Gabriel, played by Isai Morales, an agent previously working for the artificial intelligence project known as The Entity. Gabriel is trying to capture Ethan and coerce him into retrieving the core module after learning that the creation has gone rogue, infected the global cyberspace, seized control of the global nuclear arsenal, and is threatening the entire human race. The antagonist plans to control the AI solution himself. In the process, governments have collapsed and societal order has disappeared, with a growing global movement of people who support this new AI overlord. It's up to Hunt and his team to neutralize the AI before it triggers a catastrophe that will engulf and destroy mankind. Their only chance lies in the combination of a poison pill device and the original source code, the Podkova. Together, they have the ability to isolate the entity onto a single hard drive, cutting off its global reach. The team is pushed to their limits as they race against time to implement their plan. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, that's because it is. And even if the plot's execution is somewhat clunky, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is not a failure. Far from it, it's actually very good. And to support this opinion, here are 4 reasons why this entry is something you definitely don't want to miss. The first reason why you absolutely need to see the latest entry in the Ethan Hunt saga is the stunts. Because, come on, let's face it, you don't go to see a Mission Impossible movie for the plot. Personally, I don't recall anything about any of the previous movie storylines. Is this relevant? Well, no. In fact, this following clip shows pretty much how I approach the franchise.
Would you buy this product, Roger?
Sure.
Do you know what this product is?
No.
Do you care?
No.
Okay, maybe I was being a bit too harsh. Sure, I remember some things and some moments of the last 7 movies. The vault infiltration, the rock climbing sequence, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the Burj Khalifa set piece. You get the point. But when it comes to the plot, it's almost irrelevant. And when you consider the shooting delays caused by both COVID and the 2023 writer's strike, the need for rewrites after the previous title underperformed commercially, and the weight and importance of tying things up neatly, it's a miracle the movie is as good as it is. Bearing this in mind, all the exposition is welcomed by people like me who don't have the faintest recollection of what the hell happened before. What sticks and always stuck, at least for a while, are the incredible stunts, and the final reckoning is no exception, with the action sequences being the film's major draw. Together, the set piece that finds Ethan Hunt scrambling onto a biplane midair and leaping between aircrafts during a tense aerial chase, and the underwater escape from a wrecked submarine showcase Cruise's dedication, the production's ambition, and what the franchise is all about. They are the moments that justify the admission price, the times that make you freeze in mid-popcorn, the staples of a franchise that evolved in scale and scope during the last 30 years, the parts that make you overlook a somewhat convoluted execution and take it all in. Because after a sluggish first act that sets up the tone and mood, we, the audience, are able to reap the rewards of our waiting through life-defying stunts that find sound engineering, cinematography, overall visuals in the iconic Tom Cruise, challenging what's possible in an action title, aligned to deliver the ultimate spectacle. And speaking of stunts, the second reason to watch this movie sits with none other than its star, Tom Cruise. Teflon Tom, as I like to call him, on account of none of the controversies that surround him ever being able to fully tarnish his image, is the last of its kind. Since the mid-2000s, when Mel Gibson became persona non grata, Will Smith became obsessed with winning an Oscar, and Tom Hanks was no longer a sure bet, Cruise has been the sole survivor of that rare breed known as the movie star. His output between 2006 and 2010 found the actor in a period of crisis, but Cruise powered on, carrying a 40-year standing legacy as the closest Hollywood can count on as a moneymaker at the box office. Mind you that the role of Ethan Hunt is by no means an acting challenge, but Tom Cruise takes to it and makes it look natural, mixing humor and seriousness with his commitment to action excellence. See, people usually forget he's one of the few actors who worked with some of the finest directors who ever lived. Coppola, Scorsese, Spielberg, Kubrick, Oliver Stone, Paul Thomas Anderson, Ridley Scott, Michael Mann, and the list goes on. He delivered great dramatic performances throughout the years, showing his range and ability, and through it all, he showcased a solid commitment to the art of filmmaking and the importance of excellence, even as an action star. He always brings his A game, and that's what positioned him as LA's Messiah, a man on a mission. That mission, to save movie theaters and the movie-going experience. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is just another piece of evidence that highlights how serious Mr. Cruise is about his role in the industry. If we are to believe that the franchise is truly over, then we may very well witness a new stage in the actor's career. One where he mixes his desire to push the envelope in terms of what's possible, no doubt influenced by the lessons learned together with director Christopher McQuarrie, who helmed the last 4 Mission Impossible titles, outside of Ethan Hunt's world, and returns to more dramatic roles where he collaborates with the most creative and influential filmmakers in the business. In conclusion, the final Mission Impossible entry is mandatory viewing to those who wish to celebrate Tom Cruise and his continued dedication to performing his own stunts, willingness to risk his own safety for the sake of authentic action, and bringing an unmatched intensity to the role of Ethan Hunt. The third reason Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning deserves your attention is the movie's role in bookending a 30-year-old franchise. Think about it. Since Cruise took on the role of Ethan Hunt in Brian De Palma's 1996 adaptation, the world went through 2 James Bonds, 3 Spider-Mans, and 4 Batmans. Not to mention a roller coaster of changes when it comes to the components that make up a winning formula for an action title. Through it all, the series always managed to deliver something different. Early films each had distinct directors with unique styles. De Palma, John Woo, J.J. Abrams, and Brad Bird, giving each installment a different tone and approach. This rotating authorship prevented creative stagnation and allowed the series to evolve with cinematic trends. McQuarrie, who helmed half of the entries in the franchise, delivered some of the best chapters in the Ethan Hunt saga, keeping the series fresh and relevant. Under his direction, the franchise adopted a more serialized storytelling, building on characters and plot lines across multiple films, while still allowing new viewers to jump in at any point, hence why exposition and callbacks are important. Each new entry raises the stakes, often with global threats and increasingly complex missions. The threats Ethan Hunt faces have grown from isolated betrayals to world-ending dangers like rogue AIs and nuclear crisis, ensuring the tension and urgency never feel repetitive. The Final Reckoning, in particular, may look dated a few years from now thanks to its use of AI as the real antagonist. But much like titles such as Red Dawn and War Games, it will undoubtedly be seen as a reflection of a time and place when people, read audiences, thought the threat shown on screen was an actual possibility. By resorting to an unintended callback to 1964's failsafe, this eighth chapter raises the stakes and continues the narrative trajectory that feels both natural and satisfying. How the movie incorporates the ensemble heist arc and some tongue-in-cheek moments reflect the expansive nature of the series. Case in point, even though this final chapter reuses Gabriel, one of the weakest villains in memory in my opinion, it kills the character in a silly way, almost as if to let the audience know that everyone is in on the joke and a reminder that this is just a movie. As it stands, The Final Reckoning is more than just a final chapter. It's a celebration of what made this beloved franchise a cinema staple. And as I mentioned, considering all the changes, challenges, and rewrites, the movie does a great job of tying up all the loose ends. And now the final reason why you absolutely must see The Final Reckoning. It's a good old-fashioned summer blockbuster. Well, the way I see it, movies are either supposed to entertain or reveal something, whether it's about society, history, identity, you name it. Ideally, they achieve both, but movies that do so are rare. Taking this division into consideration, a summer blockbuster definitely sits in the former category. Sadly, with the marvelization of Hollywood tentpoles, this concept has been diluted. CGI is the default setting in any major production, and the soul that made things fun has been sucked out of major commercial attractions. What is merely simple, silly, and sometimes stupid was given a moronic sense of self-importance, and worse, an agenda. I, for one, always advocate for serious movies, but I would be lying if I told you that I don't enjoy that simple exercise of switching off my brain, eating popcorn, and absorbing the mindless entertainment movies have to offer. In Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning does just that. Ever since Barbara Broccoli, Sam Mendes, and Cary Joji Fukunaga neutered James Bond, Ethan Hunt is all that we have left when it comes to good old-fashioned fun in the spy business. The kind that combines visuals and practical effects that dazzle us, that incorporates 18 levels of violence where people get shot but don't die. Well, at least not on screen. Movies that offer a break from our daily routines and exceed what's normal and feasible without having us take out a loan from the bank of suspension of disbelief. That said, does this movie make absolute sense? No. Does it have to? Absolutely not. Who cares why Tom Cruise is after a pavlova and why an Australian dessert is important to the movie's plot? What matters is that the cake is hidden inside a submarine and retrieving it is a high-stakes mission. So yeah, in terms of pure summer blockbuster fun, this one hits the spot. Don't overthink it, and save your critical abilities to understand why Apple TV's latest show, The Studio, is a complete aimless mess. Wrapping it up, should you go see The Final Reckoning? Hell yeah. Much like Mr. Hunt, you shouldn't walk but run to the nearest movie theater. A fitting finale, if not a perfect one, to a great series that proudly yells, "Mission accomplished." The first hour may drag on a bit, but the payoff is simply incredible. With impressive stunts, great action, and tension galore, the tentative final installment in the franchise delivers the goods in terms of fun and entertainment, whilst showing us why at the age of 62, Tom Cruise is still on top of his game. And if this one fails to entertain you, then I'm afraid you've already been brainwashed by the entity.